Good evening, racers. It's Doug from AR Watch, and we are live on the night of day 5 of coverage of Expedition Alaska 2024. This is the last night that we're going to be here, ladies and gentlemen, and it has been an exciting day so far. We got to see the finish of the first top 2 teams in Team Bones, who was the overall winner, and Team Warrior, who came in second, about 2 hours and 45 minutes roughly behind our winners. All the other teams are still out there on the course, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to this amazing video. First of all, thank you to Legendary Randy for providing such great photos. You guys have seen that in the reels that we have produced. Every single one of them is postcard worthy. We're going to start off with this video here. So let's start that up. And here you go.
Boy. Oh my goodness.
I can't think of a better way to start the last night broadcast of the show than being able to share that with you guys. Again, thank you, Randy, for putting together amazing videos and photos for everyone to see and making you feel like you're a part of that. That was absolutely, I mean, when they weren't whited out, they had some amazing views to go along with all of the pain and suffering. And it's, you know, I can just imagine, I don't know how much that counterbalances the pain and suffering, but it definitely probably helped. So Jeff, hello, sir.
Well, hello there. Good afternoon.
Well, I guess it's afternoon for you, so I'll allow it.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. I just slept for 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like a new me.
see, even race directors need some sleep every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure that Bones and Warrior are still snoozing pretty hard right now.
Yes.
Well deserved at this point. I want to pull up the tracker for everyone. We can kind of talk through what's going on out there, and what people are seeing. So, we have several teams that are on their way
Hey,
up to the top of
Doug.
Yes.
Switch back.
Okay.
We have a team here that has been pretty much behind everybody from the get-go, but they have never given up. They refuse to give up.
We're trying to turn
Refuse,
heads. We're
dude.
turning
Yelled.
heads in different ways.
He's yelled at me several times. Just get out of here. I'm not getting in that car. Get out of here. We're not.
Dude, you
We're
picked me up. The second time I got picked up, I was pissed.
Yeah,
off, 'cause
see?
I rode 5 miles in the other direction to find, and I found it, our GPS tracker, which somebody else dropped, and I got it. So I had like 10 additional miles, having had only no sleep.
Yeah,
And then and
these
Nick
guys are
rolls up
definitely going to
after
be
I
on.
succeeded and pulls me off the damn road, puts me in. Oh,
So are
Yeah,
your other teammates coming down from the mountain right now?
No. Yeah, they're up top, right? Your other teammates.
Send them our sailing video, all right?
We're gonna get you guys. We're gonna get you guys on the AR 101. We want to hear. They've got some good stories. We want to hear everything they have to say.
So I mean that's awesome. That's Coast to Coasters. For those of you that don't know, they've had a go of it.
Oh, have they ever? I've never seen somebody struggle so much but never give up. Like they didn't care.
Well, and I mean, look at that. Like, look at the positive attitude that they have right now, after struggling
Good job.
as much as they have. Hey, there's the chef.
There's the chef and the runner.
Hey.
Patrice is our runner. He is successfully knows where every single road is now in Alaska. And he knows which roads not to go on too. Yeah, the off-roading in a rental car is so much fun.
Well, I mean, look, these races could not go on without volunteer help.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to be able to give them a little bit of camera time and love because they're the ones that have been taking care of all of these people's family members and friends that are out racing. So, all right, let's go back to the tracker.
Sure, go.
So we've had a couple teams get up to the top. This ability, Ranger Up, Fragile Flowers, and Go Live Your Adventure. Go Live Your Adventure still might be on their way up. Nope, they're on their way back down.
Yeah, they screwed up big time.
Well, how so?
Well, so before I went to sleep, they went east out of here, out of the Day Lodge.
Yeah.
And what happens is there is a trail that looks like it connects to, I think that's 32 or 33 up there.
Yeah.
Is that where it is? Just the 33. Okay, so it looks like it connects, and it used to connect. And there is what they call a rail bridge or a trolley bridge where you have to get in a basket and you have to pull yourself across this gorge. And 2 people died last year, and they decided to shut it down and actually build a physical bridge instead. So it's locked and shut down. You can't get across. And the gorge is so deep and the river is so wide and flowing so fast, you can't get across it physically. I mean, I don't even think a real good adventure racer like Nathan Fave could get across that sucker,
All right.
And so they ended up hitting a wall there to try to figure out how to get. You have to go either half mile to a mile down south to where the river isn't as wide or as rough, or you have to go north where it's more steep. So it's a really tricky trap up there. And we actually eliminated a point east of here just because of that. So they probably had to backtrack out and come all the way around to, and it added probably 3 hours worth of trekking to them just to get out of there.
Well, speaking of whoopsies,
Yeah.
The Breaking Butterflies are just now getting back to where they made their mistake. They came up north and then decided to make a right, I think trying to get to 33, and they ended up going 2.5 miles all the way over.
Yes.
And now 2.5 miles back. They're back to where they made the mistake.
Yes, that's the same mistake that Go Adventure did.
Okay. And
same mistake.
It is it's a costly one.
Yes.
You know, that 5 mile stretch is just the mental, I think, wear of it is more probably so than the physical wear of it. So we'll see how that affects them moving forward. But we have this ability who's probably 45 minutes ish. From getting to the finish line. So maybe
probably by the end of here. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get to catch them in the live broadcast. And then Ranger Up, Fragile Flower, and Go Live Your Adventure are all coming back down the mountain now. I think Fragile Flower and Go Live Your Adventure have to get some other points if they still decide to do that. They still need to get 32 and 31.
We're talking about Fragile Flowers. Huge mistake.
Oh, hey, Sonia.
Whoops. Sorry about that. We'll go that way.
Good morning.
How are you?
I don't know what time it is anymore.
I said I will accept.
I've had about 10 hours of
afternoon.
sleep all week, so I don't know.
You've had 10 hours?
You've had like 25.
She's had 10 hours of sleep this week.
Wow. You're slacking.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
I know you are. It's been an exciting day, you know, even considering having to eliminate that for safety purposes. And while you were sleeping, we had an awesome talk with Jason Magnus. He came on the show and talked about his experience, and it was phenomenal to have his perspective and to discuss it not only as a racer who has raced that area but he's lived there his whole life. He knows how dangerous it would have been to try to attempt that situation, but then also from a race director, you know, standpoint as well. So it was good to talk to him about that. And I think everybody understands at this point why the decision was made, and it was the right decision. You know, it's a bummer, you know, for those teams that were really looking forward to it, but maybe they can extend their trip a little bit and go up there when the weather clears.
Yeah. I really did it because of Mama Bear here. She would have never slept. She'd have worried about every single one of them up there. She sweats it when teams are out, and especially when they make mistakes and we can see them and we're yelling at them. We're just screaming at the dot. Where are you going? You idiot.
I was just doing that to Breaking Butterflies. I was like, no, where are you going?
I think everybody was. Everybody was like, no, turn around.
I think Megan's mom messaged me on the email and was like, what is going on? Where are they going? And I was like, I don't know. I'm sorry.
And poor Megan, you know, as the navigator, she's going to beat herself up so bad but at this point, she's so sleep deprived, and she has 3 other teammates who should be checking their compass and knowing which way they should be going. It's not all just on the navigator, it's the whole team.
No,
when you make a turn, everybody should be going, hey, we're going south. Shouldn't we be going north?
Yeah.
Well, and when it's 2.5 miles, you know, you've got to start going, all right, we should have seen this or should have seen a turn. And that's, you know, and that communication starts to lack a little bit late in the race like this, right? You're 4 days in, you're sleep deprived, your body is exhausted.
They're chit-chatting. They're just having a good time. They're like, oh, we're safe now. We don't have to go up the glacier. This will be easy. See, as soon as you say this will be easy, that's when you really are in trouble. And so, but before they know it, they're 2.5 miles off course. And here's the big clue. They were going kind of down. They're supposed to be going up.
Yeah,
So,
I was, and really, I mean, I don't know what the visibility is like,
up, Bruce?
but like, obviously when I look at the map of where they were, like it's pretty clear to see that you're not going up anymore. Because they went, I'll pull up their track. I mean, they went deep into this area here.
Oh, my phone's at 9%.
Oh goodness. Don't.
Hey, I better get myself on charge. Hold on, sorry.
Yeah.
How were once they stopped moving, how were Warrior and Bones feeling?
We were up there, right? Like 4 a.m.
Well, you know how Bones was feeling. It was like they just ran a 5K,
Yeah,
in Florida. It was nothing to them.
they're so strong. It's crazy to think that after, well, they finished in under 4 days, right? Like they were just inside of that.
Yeah, we were thinking, we thought all along that the winner might be right around 24 hours. If everything went perfect, thought that they'd be 24 hours ahead of the finish. So we were thinking noon on Friday would be the finishing time.
Yeah, and then you eliminate, 10 hours of the glacier. I don't know how much that would have taken to get those other 2 points. I mean, depending on how the weather was, because that was going to be much slower the way the conditions were.
Yeah, I mean, we predicted 10 hours, maybe a mile an hour on glacier, because you have a lot of setup time when you get there. You just because it took 10 hours to hike up to the glacier itself, but then you've got to prepare your team to actually go on the glacier. That's another half hour to 45 to sometimes an hour. And then sitting there live in front of you, you have to kind of visually look at the path that you want to take. And you have to make a decision because there's, just tons and tons and tons of ways you can get up that glacier, and you have to make a decision. You have to go. So once you get the groove, then you can kind of move a little bit faster. And then you come off of that glacier, and then you've got to prepare to go back to trekking again and pack everything away. And you're exhausted. Think about holding your breath for 10 hours. Once you step foot on a glacier, you're pretty much like, like you're on the glacier, you're focused, you're moving. You can't be sleepy. You can't be anything except focusing on your footing and your safety. And then when you come off, then you can exhale. So that takes a lot of time. So we figured 10 to 15 hours people would be on the glacier. However, in 2015, some spent 24 hours on the glaciers. So you just never know. So we were happy that no one ventured out beyond our request to stop.
Well, and I think it was the conversation earlier. It was fun to kind of watch Jason and Nick nerd out about safety, and talk about all of the things that they had done to prepare teams. This race more than others. I mean, the skill tests that people did. I actually think we have some video. Let me see if I can pull it up and I can share with people this video of glacier test that was done. Let me see if I can find it, and I will try to pull it up because it's very interesting. And all right, I'm gonna download it and then show it to everyone. I think it's important for people to see the safety measures that actually were put in place for this. Had they gone up on those glaciers, it's not like you're just showing up with a bin and a pack and going out at this kind of adventure race. Can you talk about some of the other safety things? Like everybody had to take a wilderness survival class too. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that should be a requirement as being an adventure racer, no matter where you race. It could be Florida, it could be Alaska, but I really think that it would not hurt everyone to go get a wilderness training. It's basically what to do in an emergency in the wilderness. What happens? I mean, from hypothermia to bear attack to snake bite to anything that could go wrong, because, adventure racers have egos. If you haven't figured that out, we think we're invincible. We think that nothing can hurt us, because nothing has hurt us, maybe before in a race. But the problem is that one day nature and Mother Earth are going to step up and it's going to bite you in the ass. And then how are you going to be prepared for that? That's the difference between coming down off that mountain successfully without any injuries, or with your life still intact. That makes a difference. You got to be prepared for everything. It may never, ever, ever get used, but I think that it always is a good thing to have. I did it for Eco Challenge because it was a requirement. We flew out to Colorado, and Katie and Tom and Hunter and I went out and did that course. And, it was 2 days long, and I thought it was just amazing. I learned so much. And even if it doesn't help me, it's going to help a teammate, or it's going to help a tourist that you happen to find that's in trouble. Anything, it really does help.
Well, and I think, in a sport where you're constantly pushing your limits, at some point you're going to find it. And then when you hit that limit, I mean, I had that happen at C2C, 2 years ago, where I pushed my limits and I pushed too far. And then when you push too far, you got to rely on your teammates to care for you and get you back to where you can get back to a TA. And I mean, in that case, we were 3 miles away in sugar sand and couldn't get anybody, there to rescue. So you had to self-rescue. And, luckily I had an amazing teammate that was, medically trained and was able to help me out. But, I think that is a very smart thing. I mean, everybody that I've heard in this area that has gone to take that, the wilderness survival class, has left just amazed at the things that they've learned. So I'm going to sign up for it. And I think that, if you're an adventure racer, you should think about it too. I'm going to share this video now. We'll let it play.
Got to get it taunt. Yeah. All right, now we're gonna German. We're gonna self-arrest here, so just fall in. He fell in. Really get in that concrete.
Yeah, it's a really hard patch of ice here. Yeah. Rocky.
Yeah, you're talking about 25 meters of rope in between each person,
Well, somewhat. I mean, I like to go. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead.
Well, I know some of the people I talked to, they said that they were really asking a lot of questions.
Okay, cool. So they fell in.
Because they had
everyone's support and stuff, it gives me a little breathing room to say, okay, we're support and stuff, so it gives me time.
Just make sure to talk, communicate with everybody, yelling.
Like, she'd be going head first.
Yeah, let's preferably take it out of the way. Yeah. Hey guys, real quick. So when you fall this way, it starts to go, and you're just twisting, falling on top of it.
Yeah, Hunter has some experience of falling in a crevasse. He fell in Rainier, and of all people to save him was Max from the TV show.
Yeah, listen, I mean, that's some of the things that people were doing, pre-race. And I know, talking to Chip, I mean, he said that he asked a ton of questions because they had never done anything like that. And so you want to be prepared. And if the first time you're going through how to deal with it in your mind is when it's happening, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and you want to be fast too. I mean, okay, again, you want to talk about getting a splash of cold water on you. If that happens up there and you're sleepy, you will wake up in a second. And it is it's just something that, when I climbed Rainier, I looked over down in our crevasse and I just saw 1,000 feet of blue darkness. And I'm just like, what am I doing up here? I remember climbing Rainier when Hunter was young, and Hunter, you know, of course, Hunter was like 10 years old. He wanted to go. And I'm like, you're not climbing up Rainier. You don't ask again. But he was like so upset that he didn't get a chance to go when he was 10. And, I actually felt uncomfortable. I felt like I was not in control. 3 expert climbers, 3 guides died 2 weeks before we got there on the mountain and got hit by snow and swept off the mountain into a crevasse, and they're gone. They could never retrieve their bodies. And so I just thought of that the whole time. And so, you know, you can't be more prepared to be on a glacier, and asking questions is not embarrassing. You should always ask more questions. We're gonna, you know, it is a huge disappointment to not be able to have the glacier section. But look at the smoke, the fog, the smoke, the clouds and the fog behind me right now. We're down in the valley, and the mountain is way up here. You can't even see it's up here. You know, 4,000 feet. So that's just the O relay.
Yeah. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Nick.
Hey, hold on. Here's a view of the clouds up on the mountain that the glacier's on. You can barely see the edge of it.
Yeah.
And then also there's this weird guy in a blue shirt walking around a field over there playing, I think, Pokemon Go on his phone.
Wait, you know what's funny, Nick, is I was telling Jeff, we were talking to Jason earlier, and it was fun listening to you guys nerd out about safety. And then like just hearing Jason's full story of his fall through the snow and into the ice. Jeff, you just talked about feeling like out of control and like what am I doing up here? I can't imagine literally going under the ice, tumbling upside down in basically an underground river, and then thinking, all right, I'm just going to put my pickaxe into the ice and then try to climb my way out. Like that just blows my mind. That he could have been one of those people that, you know, it is just a retrieval. And when we're out here doing a race.
Yeah, Doug. One thing is too, typically the more experience you get, the more respect you have, and the more you understand the risks more thoroughly. And then you can make decisions and take risks kind of with better judgment. And one thing you'll see is when people are new into something, so a lot of people who it's their first time ever doing that and aren't used to climbing or, you know, snow travel, glacial travel, or just really anything in the big mountains, they don't exactly even know what they're getting into. So the baseline to make a decision off of is limited.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we saw that with one team earlier in the race with a different scenario that wasn't really nearly as dangerous, but sometimes like Jeff has to evaluate different teams' abilities and capabilities and their decision making, and sometimes make safety calls even for a single team.
You know, Doug, we're not trying to discourage people from, you know, doing adventures like this, like glaciers or, you know, coming to Alaska, because all those stories we talked about, those people are still here, and they're here because of the safety protocol.
Yeah.
They're here because other teams helped out. They're here because, you know, they listened and they taught themselves how to do it, because once you do it, you'll always want to do it. It's an amazing thing to be able to walk on a glacier. I don't, you know, even though we're in the sport, you know, I only know a dozen people that have been on a glacier, you know. And if you were in an airport and you asked, you know, 100 people, have you ever been on a glacier? You're going to get zeros. None. Nobody's ever done it. And so to be able to come to a place like this and traverse across a glacier, something that's so amazing, and then come down, it's exhilarating. It's the best feeling ever. So we're not trying to discourage you from doing it. But if you're smart about it, you're going to come out on the other side with just this big grin on your face.
Well, no, and I think, you know, like, I didn't take it that way at all. And I hope that people home, because I think that it kind of speaks to what Nick was just talking about. And like the more experienced you get, the more that you want to listen to these things and you want to be thinking about these things and preparing yourself for the worst case scenario. You know, it depending on, like, I mean, in my career, I've literally been doing that, like preparing myself for the worst every day because then I'm ready for it. And you know, so when you have to do that in adventure racing, and the more prepared you are, the better you're going to be at getting through that. So I think that's an important conversation to have. You know, it like I said, it's a shame that we didn't get to experience that more in this race, but that's also racing, right? Looking at the tracker now, it looks like the Coast to Coasters relay team is on their way down to you. They should be pretty close right now, and Breaking Butterflies is heading back towards you as well, so they can take the right road up this time to get up.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah, you missed that part.
Whoa.
They went a pretty long way out of the way.
Well, they had some beautiful views potentially.
Yeah, it is beautiful there.
Oh my God.
You got to look at the silver lining, right?
Well, they've got 18 hours. I mean, you know, to play around some more before they got to get to the finish. So
yeah. Hey, they're just getting their money's worth. Like that's what I tell you guys all the time of like why I come in so late in the race. It's because like I want to get my money's worth. Like if you finish in like under 4 days, like Bones, like did you really get everything you wanted out of it? I don't know. I mean, I guess I would much rather be done in that time. What are we looking at, Jeff?
it looks like Team Disability got pulled over by the police for going too fast.
Is that? I don't think they're there yet. I still have them up at CP33. So.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, there's always this. It's funny because there's always a delay there. I'd say the tracking system's about a kilometer off, because it pings every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So when we think they're, you know, at a trail intersection, we get to the trail intersection, they're actually, you know, a kilometer up the road already.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a delay when we get it compared to what you see. But
yeah,
I don't see.
Yeah, we had them at that CP. Like it showed them at 33 at 4:02. So about the time we went on the air.
Yeah.
And I mean that's still a ways away, you know, from where you are there. So we might not get a chance to see them today. But you know, I think the coverage has been so much fun for me to be able to talk to you guys there, and like the team has been so gracious in making time when I know you have other things to do. And I know that the friends and family that are watching this have enjoyed hearing from you there, because all I can say is what I think they're doing. And you guys are actually there and talking about what is happening. And it's such an important point of view. So I appreciate you guys being able to take the time out to do this. So
a lot of the comments that I got, and I know from experience that Alaska, it's so open wilderness that there aren't a lot of trails, and that's surprisingly, because if you see how thick it is in here and how thick the bushes are and so forth, if they make a trail, if they build a trail, it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of work, and there's not a lot of trails here. So what happens is that the navigation isn't that difficult, except when you're in here in Alaska, where there's multiple ways you could go. And obviously Flowers figured that out, and so did Go Adventure. Found that out, that, oh, we didn't have choices before. Now we have all these choices, and they made a wrong decision and went up the wrong trail. But that's one of the things that I take away from here, because in Colorado, there's thousands of rogue trails. In Georgia, Florida, there's all kinds of trails, because it's easy for a hunter or some wildlife to make a trail separate from the main trail.
Yeah.
And there's no confusion up here. There's just, incredibly difficult terrain.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the tracker, like even where they just were, and I'll kind of show you where Breaking Butterflies just was. Like all of these trails in here, you can just see it on the satellite. There's roads and winding this way and that way and connecting and running parallel to each other. So if you think you're on something on the map and then you're not, and then this is up near where that river that you were talking about that I think you were saying that you could get across, but you clearly can't.
Yeah, we're at a ski resort, so there's trails everywhere. So because they're going to ski everywhere in this valley, and snowmobile, and so when you're in the urban area of Alaska, there's so many trails, and there's so many more trails in the wintertime. And so they just got confused. And it's great because it was a simple mistake of you turn right here. There's only one road going right here, and then 500 meters down, there's another turn that goes to the right. That's the one they were supposed to be on.
Yeah.
But again, if they head up through the pass, which here, yeah, you can see the pass here.
Oh, I know what happened to them. Yeah.
So there's the pass.
When you drive from, nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when they took the main road down from the TA/finish area down towards that road, when you get to the road they went down, that road before, there's a big sign that says like Crow Pass Trail or whatever, points to the right. It's in between the two roads, but when you're going there, it looks like it's for that first road. So I bet they just walked down, saw the sign, because I almost did that driving. I was like, I don't think that's the road, but it's pointing there. And I had to check the map. So I think that might be what happened to them. They just kind of followed the big street sign.
Yes. As a navigator, you cannot remember your simple tricks, pace, time. You can't just leave a TA going, oh, it's streets. We'll have no problem finding it. No, that is still, you have to kind of think about how long we've walked, think about your pace count, think about the direction. That was the kicker, that they didn't see the direction once they turned south. They should have caught that clue that they had made a mistake.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've talked to Chip about this a lot. About they always have some sort of bobble out of a TA. Now that comes because of a couple reasons, right? It becomes because you've just eaten, you've just slept, you've just changed, dynamics of like how you're traveling, and then you're like, all right, I feel like a new person and I'm going to get going. And then again, it goes back to that complacency of, I know what I'm doing, let's do it. And then next thing you know, you're 4 miles out of the way and you're like, what did I
It's kind of like a work. It's kind of like a work day. You get in real early, you get a lot of stuff done, you feel good about yourself, you head off, you go have a huge pasta lunch, and then you come back to your desk and you're just staring at the computer and you're lost. You haven't gotten engaged again, back into work mode. And that's what happens here. They start walking away and they're still chit-chatting, they're still putting a snack in, they're going, wow, Jeff cooked an amazing meal. I mean, you're doing all that. And the next thing you know it, you've walked right past your turn.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think the bad part in this is like, we talk about like the firing of your brain and like when you can tell when something's wrong, and early in the race, you might be able to detect that a whole lot sooner than you do 4 hours in, probably going on a total of, 5 or 6 hours of sleep. That definitely changes the dynamic. I guess talking about where the finish for the rest of these teams is going to be. What's the most amount of time? Like let's say,
Tanya,
let's talk about,
find out what time they close today.
Because we're gonna
butterflies and coast to
we're gonna
coast.
gut everything out of there because everybody's gonna want to gain access to that stuff.
Nick, what do you think that time period would be to get those other, what is it, 5 points?
For one of the like
Yeah,
end of the pack teams.
for like coast to coast and breaking butterflies who still need to go up the mountain. So they still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checkpoints left to get. What does that time look like?
It's going to be a while. So they have to go up that far. The furthest checkpoint, 34, I think. That's still in play. That takes a while. I mean, you're looking at once you get to the trailhead at the top, probably 3 hours round trip if you're moving decent. For them, so that team moves faster than coast to coast. So coast to coast, I mean, they have how much time is left? They have less than 24 hours.
Sorry, Doug. I gotta go. I gotta do race director stuff. We've got a timeline here that I gotta hit. So we'll chit chat with you later.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks. Bye.
I'd say 8 to 12 hours for breaking butterflies, and then I would say 12 to 15 for 12 to 18. No, 15 to 18 for coast to coast, probably.
Okay, so we're looking at like it's almost 5 o'clock there right now. So breaking butterflies is looking at a 4 or 5 in the morning finish, right? And then adding another 4 or 5 hours to coast, then they're looking at like a 9 or 10 finish. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, and it depends what they decide to do. With coast to coast, the interesting dynamic is they have they're entirely novice racers.
What a big race to bite off.
Yeah, they've never raced together before. They have some racers. They have, I think, one or two of the racers have done some races before. But overall, I mean, they're not gelling as a team. They're not. Yeah, it's just mismatch of like both fitnesses and new people to the sport, and just kind of like different aspects that are going on. So for them, I mean, they may not even go to clear the course, or they might. They seem to be moving slow and having issues. Just novice coming together for the first time, biting off a huge race.
Jeff had one of them in transition, and he was just like, I can't wait to tell the stories that they have overcome and encountered, you know, on this, and they don't have any quit in them. So, you know, I would imagine that they're going to push as much as they can. And, you know, at some point you got to make smart decisions as well about like, hey, do we go all the way up the mountain and get that point? Or do we get, you know, the 3 lower ones and call it a day and, you know, and be done? I mean, you're looking at 5 days, and that wear and tear on your body as well is like, is that worth going up that one more point up at the top to get? I don't know. That's an answer that's more internal than it is for us to discuss. What's been your favorite thing of the race so far?
Ooh,
that's a good question, right?
Yeah, I think Mount Marathon was pretty cool. That was awesome. Running down the scree was super fun, and then seeing the views in Seward is amazing. I would say that for sure.
The videos when Randy sent that video, and you could just see the scree like running out from under people, like as you're taking steps. Like my bad ankle was like yelling at me going, nope. So I don't know how that would have been for me. It might have been just sit on my butt and slide kind of thing. But it looked, I mean, absolutely epic. The videos that you took up at the top, first of all, that reel has gotten, you know, over 500 views. And it was awesome to have you up there catching bones as they reached the top and showing just how steep that was up there. I mean, you're literally on your hands and feet getting up in sections. So did you guys barrel down it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You
Yeah.
guys had some fun videos. There was another video that Hunter sent. I was gonna see if I could pull it up. Of you guys running down one of the trails that I thought was just super cool. Of course now I can't find that window. That's the hard part about doing this all by myself, and also trying to just keep the conversation going as well. I think I found it. Um, yeah, I mean, you guys have had some great times out there, and it's been awesome to watch. Um, if you put yourself in racers positions, what do you think was some of their favorite things?
A lot of racers like the Pack Ref River. Yeah, they enjoyed that for sure. Mount Marathon, a lot of the teams enjoyed that as well. Because they're fresh and they got some beautiful scenic views. Obviously, the race there is famous, and they enjoyed that. What else? Team Bones enjoyed an outhouse. They had a party in an outhouse with some music to pick their spirits up, which is hilarious.
That's
Um,
funny.
yeah, and then there was checkpoint on the way in to the final pack ref leg. It was the bike one, and it was along the road up on one of the mountains on the side, on
Yeah.
the east side. Yeah, that CP, when you climb up it on the bike trail, it's not too bad for climbing, and then you descend down, and it's just like perfectly smooth, banked, single track, like phenomenal trail, which is very, very different than most of the trails here. And from the top, you have just absolutely gorgeous views, of the whole area in the mountains and some of the glaciers. And so they were able to get up there and just have like breathtaking views, and then bomb down on like some phenomenal single track, which was every single team who went for that checkpoint was just grinning at the TA talking about it.
Yeah, I'm downloading this one video. I'll share the screen to show it with everyone here. This is the boys running down to one of the checkpoints.
I haven't seen this.
I mean, look at those views, man. That should be like a Hunter intro video.
Oh, that's at Alyeska.
Is it?
Yeah, that's here at Alyeska.
I mean, that was freaking.
That's the glacier all the way on the right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's where they had to go for the relay.
Correct. Yep. They had to go up for the relay and down. Did Jeff talk about the relay and the AB?
He did, and how teams thought that they were making smart strategic decisions, like, oh, I'll take A, and then not knowing that B was the same exact thing.
Every team, when we flipped it, the first couple teams who were experienced, the first couple teams that came in, they're generally the top of the pack.
Right.
They all just laughed when they saw it, and we're like, typical Jeff.
They're like, that's so dirty.
Yeah, they laughed. They're like, that's hilarious. Did Jeff talk about? Yeah, that's hilarious. So anyway,
I was going to show you in the tracker too. The Breaking Girls, they actually had a bobble on one of their relays too. If you see the track here, they actually went north, kind of out of the area, then had to come back and then go up the hill.
Yeah, so there's a tram line there that takes you straight to the top like a gondola, and so I think they were looking to like pretty much just run under the gondola on the gondola line, like run under it. But it's probably way too overgrown, is my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vegetation here is very unique. So show you a view. We got a little glimpse of one of these mountains.
It looks like they are back at Alyeska right now.
Yeah.
Or near Alyeska. Hopefully.
Yeah. So like when you look at like that mountain there, you have the dark green and the light green. That light green is overhead high grass. And sometimes certain kinds of bushes, even depending on which light green it is, that are it's thick bushwhacking. So it's not like you pop out in like this little tiny grass field and can just kind of skirt around some clusters. And then the dark green there, I don't know if you can see, but you obviously have the wooded trees, right?
Right.
Those you can sometimes move in. Sometimes they're real thick, but in general, it's easier to move in those thick woods than it is anywhere else because the undergrowth doesn't get as much sunlight, and so it's not as thick in there. However, that like middle shade of green you see, that looks kind of like bushes, those are alders, and those are head height to well over head height. And those are thick. I mean, you have to push the branches out of the way, and like it's very, very slow moving, and you get hung up and caught on things sometimes, and it's a pain. So when you're looking at these, and there's a reason that the butterflies, they're not bushwhacking at all for their mistake. They're going all the way around, and that's something you'll see with teams is bushwhacking is not really an option here for the most part. If you pick it, it's going to be something very short where you can see the other side. And then you have Devil's Club here, which is a plant that has these really crazy, it's just spiky and but very, very painful. And then there's another plant called cow's parsnip here that looks almost identical to the Devil's Club. However, that one is, when you brush it and stuff, it's fine. However, if you get the sap on you from breaking it, it actually burns you pretty good. Like we're talking about like blistering, like blisters will form, these big little blisters. I've had some of my arms. We have one racer from Ranger Up who had really bad, like huge blisters from it. They ran around, I think they tried to bushwhack with no shirts on or just the jerseys on, and paid a price. And so, the vegetation here is no joke, and you're going to see teams electing trails and roads over bushwhacking almost every time. It's not until you get to like the alpine area that you can then more or less bushwhack a little bit more. Once you get above alpine, you have a little bit more options. You just got to watch for cliffs and things, but you can see those. So yeah, down here in the subalpine, it's very, very thick because of just 20 hours of sunlight and tons of rain all summer. The plants and vegetation grow super thick, and they're gnarly.
Well, I think unfortunately I don't think we're going to get to see any teams come in while we're talking. I think that we have covered a lot that has happened today. I want to thank you for being on the safety team today and making a very important call that I think all the people at home will be very happy that you did, especially given the conditions, between the wind, rain, and just nastiness up there and visibility. It was the right call. So I wanted to let you know, I appreciate you. And thank you as always for taking the time to talk to everybody out in AR.watch land. We will check back with everyone in the morning and we'll see how everyone is doing. But thank you. And everybody out there, listen, there's one more overnight for the teams. So we will start day 6 of AR.watch coverage in the morning. We'll give you an update in the morning on where all the teams stand. And then we'll also let you know tonight by the end of the night if we're going to go live again one more time from the finish, possibly at the awards, so that you can share in this moment with your friends and family, because the awards are going to be awesome. So thank you guys for watching. Continue to follow AR.watch on Facebook and Instagram. Continue to follow Warrior Races and make sure you get out there and live the adventure.
Mm-hmm.